afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Human Rights Commissioners, thank you very much for having us all present today. My name is Delia Perez Meyer. I am here to talk about my brother's case of innocence. My brother is Luis Castro Perez, who was falsely accused and wrongfully convicted of a triple homicide in South Austin on September the 10th of 1998. There are not enough words to express the fear, the anger, the anguish that all of our families have had to endure as a result of this terrible mistake that was made. Our capital punishment system is fraught with errors. It is archaic and it is unnecessary. It is violent and inhumane. And we need your help to help us. For those of us that are death penalty abolitionists, we need to bring this to the forefront of the agendas of all of our legislators and our city council, and to end this death penalty once and for all. Our family, my brother, and all of us think about the victims in our case just as much as we do our own brother, because they too lost their loved ones. And while we are grateful that Luis survived that terrible day, there was a massacre that occurred in that home. And we are so grateful that our brother survived. But we still mourn the loss of his dear friends Michelle and Cinda's little girl who was 8 years old at the time, Stacy. They are with us in spirit, and we think about them as we celebrate Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving and birthdays. But like Luis, they have not gotten to see their children grow up or graduate from high school and college. Luis has 4 precious children and several grandchildren that he's never been able to touch, or to hold, or to see, to hug, or to kiss. And I want to share with you today what a wonderful, loving brother I have. He is very kind and considerate, he's very funny, he's very faithful. And to this day, he has carried his traits with him to his fellow prisoners for 13 years, comforting them, sharing his food and books with them. And Luis has been a model prisoner, very respectful of all of his friends on death row, as well as all of the personnel around him. Death row is a horrific place. As the exonerees say, it is hell on earth. The conditions of death row are truly inhumane and torturous. Death row is the place that we must shut down. In our particular case, there were many errors that were made. My brother failed to call 911 that day, and that was the first error. But there were many other errors made on the part of law enforcement and other entities. The 2 women, Luis's friends, were part of the law enforcement team, and they worked at the juvenile probation office. On that day, September the 10th of 1998, Luis walked into their home and found one of the victims on the floor with her arms outstretched. Went over and he picked her up, and she scratched him. And it was that DNA under her fingernails that led everyone to believe that Luis had committed this crime. But he did it, and he is innocent, and he loved the girls. Luis left the home that day. As the investigation ensued, there were mistakes made at every turn. The Austin Police Department, because they had the wrong man. The District Attorney's Office, because they focused solely on him and ignored foreign DNA and foreign fingerprints that were found at the scene. The grand jury is also problematic in that they are handpicked. Our judge was Judge John Wisner, and although I have the utmost respect for him, he mentioned that he was in a hurry and he needed to get this taken care of by 5 o'clock on Friday because he had to go on vacation. The DPS lab, which was a DNA lab at the time, was instructed to only look for Luis's presence and to ignore vital foreign DNA and foreign fingerprints. The medical examiner's offices, I think that we have all seen that there were problems in that office. In our particular case, the medical licenses were not in order. They punched the bodies on the wrong side to determine the temperature. They missed the livers totally. At that time, the Sheriff's Department after him with vengeance and hatred. And it was really, really unfortunate to hear the rhetoric that was going on and the sensationalization of the media, where they touted this as the worst murder in the history of Texas. The district attorney at the time that prosecuted my brother was Claire Dawson Brown. They had no consideration and absolutely no sympathy for what Lewis was going through at that time, having lost his 3 friends whom he loved dearly. Lewis has suffered enough. He's been on death row for 13 years. And I am happy to say now that his case is before the federal courts with Judge Yackel and Judge Austin. They have filed a writ. Lewis has a new attorney. Her name is Jamie Maselli. She's filed a writ, and it's called an actual innocence writ, based on the fact that his fingerprints and DNA were not on any of the murder weapons that were used to bludgeon his 3 friends. We are asking the courts to compel the state to check nearly 50 foreign fingerprints and foreign DNA that was lifted at the crime scene that absolutely belonged to another Mexican male, whom we believe was the railroad serial killer Angel Maturino Crescentes.
I think they want to record a meeting here.
Lewis's fingerprints were not on the murder weapons, as I mentioned before. And as my colleagues that are here present with me today, as they will testify, that 150 exonerated men have come from death row. They are survivors. They have survived.
All right, thanks, John.
And they come and they tell their stories, and they're all harrowing, horrific tales. They spent 10, 20, up to 30 years on death row for crimes that they did not commit either. Our system is broken. And we are here today, first of all, to thank you for your support, because over the years that the Human Rights Commission has passed several